Hey, Rich.
Yeah.
Do you think Star Trek Picard could get the coronavirus?
I'm afraid to say anything because it would be so horribly mean-spirited. Mike.
Yeah.
You really want to talk about Star Trek Picard again?
Hey,
Yeah.
did you hear that Tom Hanks has coronavirus?
Yeah, I did. I heard
And
that.
his wife, Rita Wilson?
Yes.
There was some other big news today. A different celebrity said they have coronavirus.
Who?
Justin Bieber. So now he has coronavirus and Lyme disease.
What? Hey, Mike,
Rich,
do you remember when Star Trek had
Star Trek
single
episodes
flames
at the
at
beginning of
the
Maryland
beginning?
and
Hey,
End?
Mike,
Rich,
do you remember when Star Trek had
Star Trek
single
episodes
flames
at the
at the
beginning
beginning
of
of
Maryland
Maryland?
and Star Trek episodes at the beginning of Maryland and End?
So here we are. Have we officially talked about every episode so far, right?
Yes, we have.
And we took a little break, so now we're going to do 3. And then now we're just down to the last 2, a 2-parter. Like the end of the...
Can't wait.
Can't wait. Like the end of Star Trek Discovery Season 2, that big-ass 2-parter with the big epic battle, and I bet you we're heading right towards that. So we watched 3 episodes, episodes 6, 7, and 8.
My box.
The Impossible Box.
The Impossible Box. My Impossible Box.
My Impossible Box, Nepenthe.
Yes.
And then the last one was called, like,
Broken
Pieces. That's it, yes. Those are the 3 episodes we watched. The second episode was the least interesting thing I've ever seen in my whole life. Commander Riker makes pizza for an hour.
Yes.
Burnt tomato.
What do you got?
What do I got? First note I have here is, do you think we're ever going to find out why Maddox sent Soji to the Borg cube in the first fucking place? Or is that going to be another one of those famous Alex Kurtzman plot black holes?
Well, let's talk about what we've learned, because there are many questions.
Yes.
The show is a road, as I said before. We're traveling 5 miles an hour towards, what, a cliff?
Yes.
That was or a roller coaster into a grave. That was a different analogy. We're traveling down a road, and there are many exit ramps that are also dead ends.
No, the problem is there's just on-ramps.
Oh, okay.
This is a road with on-ramps. You can't get off.
Okay.
Where's this road going? Nowhere. You can't never get off the highway. It's just going to go on a loop.
For my Impossible Box notes, I just have one sentence. It's a line of dialogue in the show that was just set out there. Bruce created Soji and Daj to find out the truth behind the synth ban.
Yes. So he sent them to a Borg cube in Romulan space.
So we learned that the artifact, right?
Yes.
Is also known as the Borg Reclamation Project, which its director is Hugh, the human / former Borg.
Was he human?
Yeah. Well, yeah. The important part is he was non-Romulan. Hugh is the director of the Borg Reclamation Project, which seems very philanthropic in nature. Mm-hmm. It may have a secret. Well, actually, I don't think it does now.
No.
Because the lady and her brother were secret Zhat Vash operatives.
Well, they were only there because Maddox sent Soji there.
They were there to spy on Soji.
And I don't understand why Maddox sent Soji there. Maddox suspects some kind of plot within the Federation.
Maybe she had free will and just decided.
They say multiple times that Maddox sent her there.
Well, okay, before we get to Maddox, let's talk about the cube.
Okay.
Because I'm still trying to figure this out too. The cube is a Borg reclamation project, which seems, like I said, philanthropic in nature, humanitarian for lack of a better word, where they reactivate Borgs that were probably in stasis and then unhook all their Borg parts and reclaim them, bring them back to life.
The Borg cube was unhooked from the collective because the Zhat Vash lady who got assimilated was too sad.
Breaking a Borg cube and the sheer force of your despair.
sheer despair broke the Borg cube. Now we're jumping ahead, Rich. We're jumping ahead to the grief planet, and we gotta start at point A. Okay. Why are the Romulans helping Borgs come back to life?
I would never have believed that assimilation could be undone on this scale, and by Romulans, no less.
In a humanitarian aid project, when their whole society and culture and planet has been ripped to shreds, why are they focusing their efforts on that? And more importantly, why is there some kind of bizarre treaty with the Federation that allows Picard diplomatic access to their nefarious clandestine operation?
Okay. You know what?
Please tell me if you
I'm going
know.
to give them this one. This would be like if a UFO crashed in the ocean during the Cold War, somewhere like right in the middle of like the U.S. and Soviet borders,
Okay.
and so it's like kind of in the neutral zone. And it's like where both of these parties, the Federation and the Romulan, they're interested in this highly advanced Borg cube. So there's a treaty where we both get access to it.
To do what?
I'm assuming they're not just rescuing former Borgs. I'm assuming they are also analyzing the fuck out of that Borg cube and the technology in it.
Well, there's no
I can
evidence.
just assume that because it makes sense.
But there's no
and
evidence that
because
they're
that
doing
makes
that.
sense, Alex Kurtzman certainly did not intend it.
Or show it. There's no evidence at all that they.
Right.
In fact, when 7 of 9 takes over the Borg cube, they're completely helpless and they have no idea what she's doing. I can understand. We're Romulans. We feel so bad about what happened to our own planet. We want to help these Borgs reclaim their individuality. Here, look at all these hospitals on the Borg cube we set up where we're removing their parts and we're helping them like do physical therapy to walk again and to learn. We're showing them pictures of their families, and there's a psych ward where doctors help them adjust. But 2 levels below, there's all these Romulans just like scanning and studying the Borg technology. We never saw that. There's no sign at all that that's happening.
That would have made a lot of sense, and that would have been fun, and that would have been very much like a classic Romulan plot.
Yeah.
The subterfuge.
But really, it's a co-thing with the Federation. I mean, why? Their whole home planet exploded, and they're space refugees with limited resources, but yet they're spending resources to help Borg drones become individuals again for seemingly no purpose whatsoever, other than a stage, metaphorically speaking, to set our Soji character so that she can interact with Zhat Vash operatives.
I am thinking about this more than Alex Kurtzman did. And the Romulans do not have limited resources because they just lost one of their many thousands of planets.
Okay. But yet there's an entire planet of Romulan refugees living in the Wild West.
Because Alex Kurtzman's horrible, horrible fingerprints are all over the show. He has only watched the TNG movies.
Apparently not, though. Do you remember at the end of the final episode we watched, Broken Pieces?
What happened in it again? Remind me?
7 of 9 gets into the Queen Borg control room.
Yeah.
And she says, "Hook me up." And Borg parts shoot into her spine and her eyes turn black. And she reunites with the collective so that she could control the Borg cube.
It is over. The cube is ours again.
With the intent of turning on all the Borgs so that they could attack the Romulans, right? Mm-hmm. And then Zhat Vash sister and one of her Romulan friends, he has the idea, he's like, why don't we shoot them all out into space? And then she's like, do it.
Now.
So they blow hundreds of thousands of Borgs out into space.
Why are they doing that?
We have to get rid of every Borg still held in stasis immediately.
Because 7 of 9 turned them on to attack the Romulans.
Why were they attacking the Borgs in the first place?
They weren't. Oh, they were killing off all the...
Why were they killing off all of those former Borgs in the first place?
To activate the Queen Cell, you will need an XP.
Because Soji had fled, so there was no purpose. I think the Borg Reclamation Project,
Why would they bother killing off all of those Borgs in the first place?
So they didn't tell a secret.
What secret? They're only concerned about finding and stopping Soji.
Because it was a cool scene where she shot a bunch of people with
Oh,
the space.
Alex Kurtzman is involved with this.
That's the answer.
I forgot.
Can we do this like Jeopardy? Who is Alex Kurtzman?
What is a moron?
Oh, but my point is, they blow all the Borgs out into space, and they're all flying around. It was actually kind of grotesque and disturbing.
Yeah.
All those hundreds of thousands of people being thrown out into space, and then 7 of 9 goes, "No!" in the Borg voice, as in they had killed them all. Mm-hmm. But let us not forget, Borgs can survive just fine in open space, as seen in Star Trek First Contact.
Mike, just because Alex Kurtzman only watched the Star Trek The Next Generation movies, that doesn't mean he understood them.
So the XBs were the ones that the girl assassinated, and 7 of 9's plan was, let's unhook all the Borgs and have them go nuts on these Romulans. And Eleanor looked at her and says, "You're not going to assimilate me, are you?" And she goes, "Nah," something. So her plan was unleash the full power of the Borg. But when they flew out into space, 7 of 9, who had the knowledge of the Borg collective in her brain, should have said, she should have grabbed the green flowing things, and then they all reappear back in the things. Hey, the vacuum of space don't affect Borgs, as seen in Star Trek First Contact. Here's a clip.
They've adapted.
Why, here's another clip. So to recap, you were asking why evil Zhat Vash, sister character, started murdering everyone?
Yeah.
Because I think, if you want to get real dumb, I think the entire Borg Reclamation Project was not just a ruse to steal Borg technologies. I think it was a giant, elaborate, fake scheme just to get Soji there, to lure her there, so that they could get her to tell them where her home planet was.
That is so dumb that has to be true.
Also, Bruce Maddox went through the trouble of finding a secret home planet to build his synths on. Why would he implant a fake memory in her that leaves clues as to where the real planet is? Why wouldn't he ever look up and see like a sunny sky with a big planet with a ring around it? That just led people completely in the wrong direction. If he was intentionally trying to hide his base. Because of clues and mysteries. Because that guy, Narek, yeah. She did the little Romulan thing where she walked around around candles. And he had to betray his love. He was in love with her, and he tried to hit her with poison gas. Wouldn't it be better just to open the door with 19 Romulan guys, just mow her down with phaser fire, instead of a slow-moving gas?
Yeah.
You see how fast these fucking phasers fire now, Rich? It's like... Remember the old days of the hand phaser at TNG when it would shoot out at a mile an hour? You wouldn't last a second!
He could have just hugged her, and then with his other hand, just grabbed his phaser rifle, his disruptor rifle, and just... He could have done that, because he had her trust.
Maybe he really didn't want her to die because he loved her. But he had the gas thing set up ahead of time. Somebody did. You know what I was thinking too? You're always talking about how these shows are mystical, fantasies. And then Soji looks up in her dream and she says, "I see a red sky with 2 moons. They're blood red moons." And all I pictured in my head was Data at the station and the Enterprise. There are approximately 2,568 planets that match that criteria. And I said, that's Star Trek.
Shut the fuck up.
Because the most of the episode is Picard talking to Hugh, being traumatized.
Oh yeah, I want to talk
going
about
back
that.
to a Borg cube, and it just seems like everything Picard did for 7 seasons, they just every stupid person just wants to distill it down to the Borg. He was a Borg once.
Yeah, Borg. We said this from the beginning.
That's the thing people know. That's what he did.
Yeah, like okay, so he was Locutus for an hour.
Yeah.
And then, he was a little like at the end of Best of Both Worlds, he had a little scar thing on there, a little leftover component, and he was a little rattled. He looked out the window. Remember, the camera goes outside of the ship as he's like looking out the window longingly.
It was like a great episode right after, too, where he goes back to the vineyard.
Yes, and he rolls around with his brother in the mud. The vineyard that burned down.
Yeah, but it's back.
It's back. I mean, it looks
back,
different.
baby.
It's
back.
It's back. No one's ever really gone. Although they don't bring up Robert, his brother and his wife, and then his little nephew, who tragically died in a horrible fire in the beginning of Star Trek Generations for no reason at all. They rebuilt the vineyard. It looks different than it does in the TV show. They rebuilt it. Okay. They rebuilt it.
And the antique furniture.
And the antique furniture.
You could easily replicate.
You just replicate it.
And Raffi easily could have replicated it too, but she has to chide Picard for having fancy antique furniture. That is obviously replicated antique furniture because Picard's actual antique furniture burned down with the vineyard. Yes. Okay, I just want to clear that up. Picard, Vineyard, Borg.
Picard, Vineyard, Borg. Picard, I was saying there's episode Family right after the Best of Both Worlds. And right after that, Family, he's back to being Picard.
Determine the absolute minimum field energy Dr. Crusher needs, and use the rest to get me onto my bridge.
Then more seasons go by, and then we get to Descent. Not a great two-parter.
Kind of bad.
Admittedly, not a great two-parter, but there's Picard. Laura's taken over a rogue wing of the Borg collective.
If I remember right, when they put Hugh back into the collective, his individuality that he developed.
That's right.
Threw the collective off.
Yes, and then Laura came in and said, "Ooh, I got a bunch of soldiers for my dastardly plan." But Picard is there, and the big reveal that Data has aligned himself with Laura because Laura put a crazy emotions chip in his head. Thousands of Borgs rush into the room, and Picard is there, and there's like a red shirt, and he's like, ah! He gets a little trigger happy, and he gets killed. So it's Picard, Troi, and Geordi, and they're all just standing there, and Picard's like, a mere 5 years after, season 6, season 3, 4.
Yeah.
A mere 2 years after the Borg incident, Picard's just like, Then they throw him in a holding cell, and Picard's, And then 40 years later, he's,
yeah. Yeah.
Now, granted,
they watched First Contact, Mike.
First Contact, they amped up the
The
Borg.
beginning of the end. That's what First Contact is to me. That's when they realized that, hey, dumb can really sell. Let's get dumb.
Yes, but Picard, he's filled with so much rage from his Borg experience that lasted an hour. And then he wants to kill them. And he's smashing things, and he's like, fuck them. He's so mad in First Contact. So I guess mad has, over the course of 30 years, has turned into frail and terrified now.
Yes.
'Cause Borg. He didn't have a little sit down with Janeway. You remember? He should have. And Janeway's like, I was blowing up Borg cubes left and right. She's smoking. They would encounter Borg cubes quite often and escape from them.
The Voyager?
Yeah. Yeah. Even without their super space armor. You remember when Janeway from the future gave him super space armor?
Ablative armor.
Ablative armor, yeah. A blade of armor is a thing. It's on the Defiant. It's modern, but it was a regenerative blade of armor. It appeared around the ship. It was super futuristic technology.
They would just instantly replicate armor.
Yes.
Because in the future they can just make materials out of nothing.
So Picard and their crew, they say, let's go find Soji. Because Picard, I guess Picard sort of cares because...
Cares about which?
Soji or Daj.
Yeah.
Because Daj exploded.
Because Data's his best friend.
Oh, right.
Mike, you've watched Star Trek: The Next Generation. What character on the crew is Picard closest to?
Beverly Crusher.
Beverly Crusher. Not Data? Are you sure it's not Data? Because he loves Data! And that's why I say they've only watched the movies. Because you get to the movies, they made the movies. And they just said, who are the two popular characters? Picard and Data. Yeah, sure, Picard and Data. And all the movies are Picard and Data focused. And if you only watch the movies, you think they are the best fucking friends who have ever been friends. When you watch a TV show and Data wasn't any more important to Picard than Riker or Geordi or...
Yeah. I mean, he was in a certain way. There's actually one nice little moment in the third episode, I think, when he's talking to somebody. Soji?
Tell me about Data. What was he like?
About Data. He's kind of explaining what he was, and it's a nice little moment, you know.
Yeah.
Tell me about Data, you know, that sort of thing.
He had a child's wisdom, unclouded by habit or bias. He made us all laugh, except when he was trying to make us laugh.
Everybody shows up at the Borg cube, and they use Raffi to contact her friend in Starfleet to get them diplomatic access.
And you know they're huge fans of Star Trek: The Next Generation because Raffi mentions how Picard had such a big ego and id. The two words I would least associate with Captain Picard. Picard, the highly reserved and thoughtful captain who would always think before doing anything and was always patient and listening and concerned about the feelings of others. Pure ego and id on that man.
They got diplomatic clearance to go...
onto the Borg cube.
Yeah, so that sort of disrupts our theory that the Zhat Vash secretly set up a fake Borg reclamation project in order to really study Soji.
Unless they set up a real Borg reclamation project with the sole purpose of luring in Soji.
And other, like, Federation. What about all those other people? Remember there's that girl, that black girl who had the short hair, and she's like, Romulans are so into drama. Like there were other human beings there that were working. Like, whatever happened to them? Did they all get murdered?
Why did they introduce her?
I don't know. Someone to share dialogue lines with, but the dialogue lines were pointless because the two lines were, Romulans are so into drama, and oh my God, that Romulan is sure hot. And then we never saw her again. I assume that the Zhat Vash sister Romulan character murdered her as well, but she ordered the murder of all the XBs. But that didn't include all the people that were working. There were scientists and...
Yeah.
It almost seemed like a job, like a factory almost.
Morning and welcome to Pop Cycle 9834. As guests of the Borg Artifact Research Institute, your safety is important to us.
Yeah.
So if it really was a secret Zhat Vash ploy to just study Soji, because they had to be very careful around...
It has to have been a real project. Whether or not it was set up with ulterior motives, we'll never know. And that was never thought of because here's what happened. Somebody said, hey, Patrick Stewart wants to do Star Trek again. Let's make a Picard TV series. And then Alex Kurtzman, he assembled all the writers and said, okay, let's come up with some ideas. And then, you go through your first stage of writing. Well, what if we have like a Borg cube? Well, yeah, that's fun. Let's do some stuff with the Romulans. Hey, what if they were Romulan warrior women? And someone else said, well, what if we had Romulan women who have a secret order for something else? And well, let's we'll think about all these. We'll fit them all together. And then the next day, the writers came back, and Alex Kurtzman wasn't there. And they texted him. They texted Alex Kurtzman, "Where are you? We're ready for the second day of our big writers meeting." And Alex Kurtzman texted them back and said, "What are you talking about? We're done. We did that yesterday."
But Alex Kurtzman says, "I want those things."
Alex Kurtzman just, okay.
Not how about. Alex Kurtzman says, "I want an order of female Romulan warrior nuns and an order of female secret Zhat Vash agents."
Pick one.
I gotta put both in there.
Pick one. It's weird that there are two.
So Romulans are built on secrecy, so much that they don't use their real names. Only to the one they love. He's going to tell her his real name.
He did.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that would be a thing at the end before they blew up.
No, he did it before he murdered her.
Oh. But wait, why are the Romulans, presumably a race that's been scattered across the galaxy with limited resources, that are all angry and living in Wild West towns?
That shouldn't have limited resources and shouldn't be scattered all out the galaxy living in Wild West towns.
Why are they using valuable time and effort and resources to reclaim those poor people that have been assimilated by the Borg, who are basically useless once they've been...
Because
it's not like they're using them to dig ditches.
Because the Romulans are at the same time, they are both a fully functional government that has thousands of worlds, and they are also a completely lawless, collapsed society.
Okay.
At the same time.
They seem contradictory, is my question. And when something comes up that's contradictory, my brain instinctively tries to understand it.
Oh, Mike. Let me tell you about a man called Alex Kurtzman. How do you feel about Elnor's sacrifice at the end of the Borg episode? Elnor, who was literally introduced 2 episodes before that, and then he did absolutely nothing in the second episode he was in. How about that character arc on him, huh?
He's brave. And he fights for a worthless cause? A hopeless cause?
Hopeless causes.
So Picard said, come with me.
Elnor, come. This thing here can take us to a safer place.
I'll stay behind to cover your escape. My blade is pledged to defend you.
Then I release you of the pledge.
Right? No, I release you of your...
If you're gonna do the scene, even though you knew they weren't gonna kill him because they just introduced the fucking character, so you knew he wasn't gonna be dead, and you knew he was gonna be running around on the Borg cube beheading people because Alex Kurtzman thinks ninjas are cool. Even though you knew that, you have to have some scenes with him and Picard and character development before he does the fake self-sacrifice, right? Or else it just falls completely flat.
Yeah, it fell completely flat.
Alex Kurtzman really, really loved the line, "Please, friends, choose to live." He thought that was the most badass line he ever wrote.
It's so fucking badass, I started crying.
Please, my friend. Choose to live. Fedor Stan Toret.
Shut the fuck up.
But then, so Ninja Kid tried to protect Hugh, but Hugh got killed.
Yes.
You?
How did Picard recognize him? You remember?
Yeah, that's fine.
It's like he's like backlit, and Picard's like, Hugh?
No, they had the scene when he was looking at the records of the Romulan reclamation project. They showed the picture of old
you're
Hugh.
right. Yes, you're right.
And new Hugh.
Yeah, he said search Borg and Star Trek, and then like pictures came up of all the episodes.
That's when they showed the picture of Locutus.
Yeah.
And they did the face through the viewer. And it wasn't like the picture on the Enterprise view screen. It was a picture somebody took of the Enterprise view screen, because you can see the border of the Enterprise's view screen in the shot of Locutus.
Yeah, so it wasn't the recording from the view screen. It was
like Riker must have took it out like a camera at some point to take a picture of the view screen.
That's what happened after the camera cut, after that like 180-degree pan. Mr. LaForge, dun, 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 the music tells fire.
But first, take a picture.
It's from my Instagram. Killing my old boss, LOL. Back to the show. Picard is there to find Soji, and Soji has just almost been murdered by her Romulan lover, Narek, who betrayed her by trying to get her to tell him about her dreams so they could find her home planet, because the secret mission of the Zhat Vash is to kill androids, and we'll get to why. And Picard says, I'm Picard. I knew your sister. She blew up. Come with me.
Well, she doesn't learn about the sister blowing up until later. That's very important.
Yes. But Hugh says, come with me into the Queen's lair. There's a secret machine that will shoot you anywhere in the whole galaxy. Where do you want to go? And instead of saying Earth,
Starfleet headquarters.
Starfleet headquarters, maximum security. I need to explain to the Federation Council what's going on. I'd like to assume that in Starfleet, there are more higher-ups that exist that will listen to Picard than some nasty old that keeps calling him a fucker. Right? That's his roadblock, is some nasty, nasty lady.
Shut the fuck up.
Where's Admiral Bitchev?
Yeah? She'd listen to him.
I am aware of that, Captain.
She would.
There's so many admirals that Picard is probably buddy-buddy with. Where's Janeway, right?
Because that admiral is back from the era when antagonists weren't villains. They were just antagonists.
Yeah. They were just kind of like more bureaucrats at that point. Their days of captaining starships were over. They were very bureaucratic, very politician-like. Where they're like, I don't know about that, Picard. It sounds risky. No. I won't give you my permission. But I've got to do this thing. I'm out in space, and it's important. No. You can't grant you permission. It's just too risky. Diplomats, politics, And so, but there's probably 100 admirals.
Yeah.
But it's always that one lady. And she tells him to go fuck himself so many times.
Sheer fucking hubris. Shut the fuck up.
So I would say, even though it is possible that this conspiracy runs in the ranks of the Starfleet, which we find out it does, Commander O is a secret spy, as we suspected, or as we were told, I would still take her right to the fucking heart of the Federation. You're the safest there. But instead he goes to Riker and Troi's vacation planet.
Everyone is out of character. Everyone. Well, mostly Picard is out of character, but.
So you want to be ass deep in Romulans for the rest of your life?
I don't want to endanger my friends. Now I am going to endanger my friends.
He's running out of options.
But why not go to some random ass fucking place?
You know what baffled me?
What?
Riker sees Picard for the first time in ages, and his first thought, he's known Picard a very long time. You've got to be in trouble.
Oh. You need a place to hide out.
Shields up. Perimeter scans to max.
Because no character recklessly got themselves into trouble like Captain Picard did. Oh, you Picard, you rascal, you've done it again! I'm William Riker. I'm a career Starfleet, a good person. Remember when I told you never do good things for people?
I believe I also reminded you of Newton's fourth law of thermodynamics.
No good deed goes unpunished.
Right.
That's the kind of advice I, William Riker, would give somebody. They're aliens, or they're just not. They're pod people.
Well, they are the actors themselves.
Yeah.
You think Jonathan Frakes might know a little because he directed several of the movies and episodes, and he's directed Discovery, but
He's also the man that said in an interview during the TNG movies, well, the fans want Star Trek to be action now, so he doesn't give a shit.
No, he doesn't give it. Neither does, Patrick Stewart is there for his own ego. He doesn't care about the character.
Yeah.
He never did. None of them do. It's like, actors, producers, editors, writers, no one cares at all about the material. Yeah. They care about making it and working and making money, but they don't care about the material they're making at all. We can say, okay, he could have gone here, he could have gone there, blah, 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 but he went to there so that they could have a little episode where they talk, and, you know, we could tease Riker and Troi are in it, in the trailer, so people watch. I don't know. I guess there was a lesson about parenting or family or something happened.
Well,
That's fine.
On the bridge of your starship, Captain, but now you're dealing with a teenager, more or less. That can be an extremely humbling experience. Frankly, I'm not sure you're up to it.
If they were going to be in this show at all, they're in it as much as they should have been without it just turning into, let's get everybody back together. I'm fine with it. I'm fine with that episode.
Yeah, other than the fact that
they're pod people,
the
versions of those characters.
The characters feel wrong. I can't necessarily say, like, that's not how Riker and Troi would have matured into retirement. I can't necessarily say that, but the episode was, let's take Soji and to a safe spot, because they established Riker has like a shield grid around his house.
They played it off with a line. We've had trouble with local Zindi bandits or something along those lines.
That's right. Yeah, so they're there to tell Riker and Troi the premise of the past 5 episodes of the show that we've all witnessed, thus basically stalling the forward momentum of the show entirely just to have a cameo by 2 characters who are essentially pointless.
Yeah.
Unless they show up at the end.
But they're there, so you could say, those characters, I know those characters.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Is this show supposed to be pro-synthetic life forms?
Yes.
Because data?
Yes.
And because they could snap at an instant and murder people? Also,
well, that's the Romulans who did that.
But those were synths that worked on Mars. Did Romulans hack their brains?
That has to be what happened, right?
Because there's also a line in this.
Unless that's going to be another one of the never explained Alex Kurtzman bits.
Possibly. That's my question: is who are the synths that are flying? Well, no, it was exposed. Sorry, it was exposed that the attack on Mars was a Romulan plot.
But we saw a robot go nuts.
We saw a robot go nuts, but the ships that were flying around looked kind of Romulan-ish, and I said it wasn't synths that attacked. I guessed that it was the Romulans that actually did it to make the synths look bad. But my point is that the show is pro-synth because Riker and Troi had a son who died from a silicon-based brain disease.
What did he have?
Mandaxic neurosclerosis. It's a silicon-based virus.
Yes, virus, a silicon-based virus.
That could have been cured.
I don't know why a silicon-based virus would be compatible with carbon-based human cells. That doesn't make any sense.
No.
But
or how the fact that you could just assume that if there wasn't a ban on synths, that
they needed some kind of positronic computation to develop the vaccine.
It's very rare, and in theory, completely curable. You just have to culture the infected cells in an active positronic matrix, but by the time Thad came down with MN, there were no active positronic matrices, and no one was allowed to develop new ones.
It's dumb.
Yeah. It's a throwaway line that makes no sense to give motivation for the reason why we need synths or that they're helpful or good.
Yes.
Right? And to date, I have seen no indication of that other than the fact that they are useful as slave labor.
They're individuals that have a right to exist, Mike. That's enough. That's really enough.
But establishing that would be lovely, because
we had 7 seasons with Data.
But these are different than Data. When they're automatons that work in a mine, they're not individuals. Like if you had a planet of synths, right? And say, that's the synth planet. Decades ago, here's a good premise, right?
Okay.
Decades ago, we used synths as slave labor on dilithium mines or at the Mars Utopia Planitia facility. And they over time, they developed their own personalities and they didn't like doing the work and they wanted to paint and create art like Data did, take on personal interests. And over time, we had this big debate on whether or not we should be using these synths because their brains were so complicated, they started to develop their own... Sentience, yes, and their own personality. This one liked jazz music. This one liked, rock climbing. I don't know, what the fuck, whatever. And so we said, we can't do this anymore. It's immoral. And all the synths wanted to go live on their own planet. And we see scenes of them on their planet, and they're happy, and they do these things, and they have fun, and they're loving characters, and they're developing, and then that's when you hit with the controversy of the synth ban, and possibly rounding them up, eliminating them because we're now scared of them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't fit with this doomsday plot. That's really awful, but it adds a sympathetic nature to the whole premise of the show. Picard is running around trying to save Soji because she may or may not have been developed from one of Data's positrons.
What's really important is that Elnor runs around and beheads people, and that this show ends up with thousands of Romulan ships flying around the robot planet, and then they're going to have fights with thousands of the Federation squadron ships that show up, and it's just going to be fighters. The Federation's just going to be using fighters now, so there can be even more tinier things that blow up. And then in the end, there's going to be 17,000 ships blowing around this planet, and then 7 of 9's going to come in with the giant Borg cube, and then that's going to be shooting lasers all over the place, and everything is going to blow up.
7 of 9 is going to lead an armada of Borg cubes to get revenge for the murder of all the drones.
Yes. And then just Soji is gonna pick up the evil Romulan sister, and she's gonna just like throw her into like a giant cliff overlooking a lava pool on the robot planet.
I was gonna say throw her into a volcano.
No, it's just gonna be a lava ocean on the planet. And she's gonna throw her into the lava ocean. She's gonna go, no! And then everyone's gonna cheer. And then the war will be over because they killed the Romulan sister.
So what you're saying is I'm foolish.
And then the artifact the Romulans found that makes people have insane visions that they ripped off straight from Mass Effect. I know you're not a video game guy. They have gone, I didn't say anything about it before, they've gone from kind of being blatantly inspired by Mass Effect, and I never brought it up because you're not a video game guy, and now they are directly ripping it off with the thing that gives you the psychotic visions and the hints of a race that comes in to wipe everybody out once you develop AI. Directly ripping off, not only directly ripping off Mass Effect 3, but they're ripping off the bad one for some reason.
Wow.
It's blatant. But that's going to blow up at the end, because that's also going to be on the planet that Maddox went to completely by coincidence. They have to tie these things together in the laziest, dumbest possible way. So completely by coincidence, the planet that Maddox goes to develop the AI is just going to be the same exact planet that the ancient Jat Vaj people found the psychotic artifact on. It's going to be the same planet.
Okay.
It's going to be the dumbest coincidence in the world. Maddox just happened to go to that particular planet.
Because then, yeah, you could tie everything together there.
Sloppily. Horribly sloppily.
In a
way that makes you go, what?
Yeah. Things that make you go, hmm?
Huh?
And so a lot of my thoughts were all wrong. I thought Commander O was a secret robot. We discover, though, she's half Vulcan.
They teased you, too.
I know.
Because they even had the scene where she takes off the sunglasses.
I know. It's like they knew I said that. No, Mike, you're wrong. Look at my eyes, you bitch. I was like, no.
I think I'm wrong about the Romulans creating the Borg too, though. So I failed my major prediction.
It was worse than that.
Yeah, it's
I didn't think that was possible. So yeah, Commander O is not a secret robot.
No.
She's not a Romulan wearing Vulcan makeup. She is a half Vulcan, half Romulan, which I think they did so that she could do the mind meld on Agnes.
Even though there's no reason a Romulan shouldn't be able to do the mind meld, because Romulans and Vulcans aren't a different species.
No, but they separated a long time ago, and I think it's a practice that,
Sure.
Although this...
Biologically, a Romulan should be capable of that.
Yeah, yes, I would agree with you. This show has dumped that aspect. See, the Vulcans and Romulans split, right? Vulcans had a horrible, violent past, nuclear wars and whatnot, and then they said, oh no. Vulcans are like, we want to look inward, we want to be peaceful, we want to meditate, we want to use logic. Nothing but logic, because emotions lead to huge wars and violence. The Romulans went the other direction. They said, we're going to be very militaristic, we're going to be very secretive, and they abandoned all that, or they didn't take that route of peaceful meditation and spirituality and stuff. They're completely opposite. This fucking show is bringing in those elements into Romulan culture of the meditation. It's an ancient Romulan practice where we walk around candles and we think about... Romulans never did that!
It's fine.
And then this shit, like, fuck that. And every time there needs to be a convenient plot, unless, maybe Narek is making all this shit up. That's a possibility.
The dream walk was all
He's
bullshit.
just like, yeah, but they had a special room built for us. Like, and he's always just saying like, oh yeah, Romulans, yeah, we never use our real name. We use a fake name because we're secretive, and our real name is meant for our secretive loves, And we do this meditation practice. It's forbidden for other cultures, only Romulans. And maybe he's just making all that up just to trick Soji into thinking of her dream. If that's the case, that'd be great. The sister goes, what is this room? I don't know, I made up some fucking bullshit about some ritual. We don't do rituals. We have hard labor camps. We build giant spaceships. We build giant fucking warships. We don't have meditation rooms. I'm doing it to trick this dumb little robot into telling her secrets. Oh, Narek, that's good.
Like, the Romulans can be assholes and also have rituals.
Okay.
I'm fine with that. It's fine.
Burnt tomato.
Yum, yum. Shut the fuck up.
Alex Kurtzman thought ninjas are awesome. So at the end of the show, is everybody just going to conveniently forget that Agnes is a horrible murderer and she's just going to be accepted?
No, because I have a tiny theory on that.
Okay.
My guess is that the Maddox that she killed was an android. That Maddox made a double of himself.
So she's still a murderer, because the whole premise of the show is that androids are people too.
It's like what's the term legally when you accidentally like hit someone with your car? Involuntary manslaughter, right?
No, it's voluntary manslaughter of the wrong person.
It's an android.
It's still fucking murder.
Synths were banned, Rich, so that she would get an award. Listen, I think morally it's questionable, but I think...
It's not even questionable. No, it's just she's a murderer.
No, because she was under duress, because Commander O mind melded her and told her hell is coming, okay?
The only route left, unless the show is so dumb, they just sweep it under the rug and forget about it. Unless the show is that dumb, and it might be, the only route left for her is some heroic sacrifice bullshit.
Yeah, well, yeah.
All the Romulan ships are gonna form into a giant super laser, and it's gonna fire at the planet. She's not gonna have a ship. She's gonna jump in front of the giant laser on the planet, and it's gonna hit her instead of the planet to save the planet.
No, wait.
Yeah.
I can go dumber.
You can go dumber than that.
Yum, yum.
the laser is charging up, right? She says, there's a program in the computer about building a human reflector suit to reflect solar flares, right?
Yeah.
And so they start, like, robots start assembling it, like the end of Discovery when they build her, like, robot suit. They have 5 minutes to build it. And so she flies into space wearing a giant mirrored spacesuit. It's experimental, designed to reflect solar flares. And for some reason, it's person-sized. And it has a jetpack on it and also has wings. And they go, Agnes, no!
Rios is going to say that because they're in love now.
Yeah, they had sex. Agnes, no! And she's going to fly up into the sky, and it's going to be all dramatic, and she's going to be... And then here comes the laser. It takes 10 minutes to charge. It's going to wipe out 55 planets. The super race that will get
It's going to destroy all 8 of the suns.
Okay. Which will cause supernovas to wipe out the entire Milky Way galaxy.
Oh, yeah.
That's how the super AI, not an AI, what is it? The supreme race of aliens, right? That will come and punish you for making AIs. They brought those 8 suns together because they know if they shoot them and turn them into supernovas, it'll cause a chain reaction that will destroy the universe. And so Agnes flies up in a reflection suit and deflects the laser, and it shoots and it hits the Romulan sister right in her. And then she explodes in a bloody red mist.
Slowly. She's gonna. The wave of explosion's gonna slowly come up her body.
And then her skin starts bubbling and it burns off her face, and we see her skeleton is screaming. Oh, it's gonna be so great. But for those who are not watching Star Trek Picard, and for those who don't know what Mass Effect 3 is, real quick, we're going to explain the premise of the show, which has been revealed.
Yes.
And I don't know what new information will come out in our 2-parter. I predict Bruce Maddox is still alive, and he made a robot android of himself and sent it out in the world to kind of see who's after him, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then Agnes's arc will be, Bruce, you're still alive? I'm sorry, I killed your robot because Commander O showed me the vision of a hellish future. And I was so fucking traumatized by this. I killed you and I'm sorry. It's okay, Agnes. I forgive you. And everyone else will forget about the murder. That will happen. But other than going to the home planet, which will be the same planet, I agree with you there, the grief planet, we'll quickly explain the premise. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, some civilization that has long since vanished created AIs that got to the point of being too sentient. They triggered an alarm, so to speak, for an even more powerful, more ancient race to come and wipe them out because they didn't like the fact that they made AIs. Am I right?
Well, in Mass Effect, which they're blatantly ripping off, the super advanced race, they just come in every now and there and wipe out anybody capable of making AIs.
Okay, very close, very close.
To save life from making artificial intelligence to destroy life, they destroy all life.
Yeah. So they're trying to stop like the Terminator effect, right?
By wiping everybody out.
Yeah, kind of wiping the slate clean, starting over. That happened hundreds of thousands of years ago. They created this little warning, this electrical circle on a planet that will, if you touch it, it will show you what will happen.
Also Mass Effect.
Okay, if you create AIs up to a certain point, this is what will happen. This ancient race of something will come back and create some kind of nightmare scenario where hell happens and they kill all of you, right?
Yes.
And in order to get this information, you have to touch the circle. And this information is so fucking frightening that it will melt your brain, cause you to commit suicide on the spot, claw your fucking eyes out,
Bash
whatever.
your head in with a rock.
Bash your own head in with a rock, which seems counterproductive. If you're trying to warn people, a nice like Post-it note would do. Or how about a tablet? Like, you know those historical markers? There's just like a tablet.
You need to really get the message.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. And somehow the only person to survive this information in her brain was our Romulan sister character. I don't even know that character's name.
It doesn't matter. She's terrible. She's a terrible character. She is so fucking shallow. Shallow villain.
Oh yeah. Comically bad villain.
All of the new Trek villains are comically bad. They're comically one-dimensional.
I hate when a villain is so bad, they just they just revel in their badness.
We have to get rid of every Borg still held in stasis immediately. Can they be gassed? Electrocuted?
We can blow the seals and jettison them directly into space.
Oh, I like that. See to it.
Yes, sir.
Unless it's a parody.
Unless it's
a joke.
Of course. But she's like, it's time to die.
Kill all of the Borg now.
Yeah. At least Narek, he has some kind of emotional center where he feels guilty. I don't know. At least there's something there. But she is just awful.
Tell me you found the freak.
I'm authorized to kill you now.
And then her and Commander O are the ones who can handle information. Also, Agnes.
Also, we have two all-female secret societies that have one hanger-on male.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? Isn't that something if you're writing the show you would think, well, that's weird, maybe we shouldn't do that?
Yeah, I don't know why the Zhat Vash has to be all female.
There's nothing wrong with an all-female secret society. It's just really weird that there are two of them in the same series.
It is weird, yeah. It would make, you know what would be neat is if the Zhat Vash, like, for some reason, the females were able to handle the information better.
Yeah.
Because
males who touch it all instantly die.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Yeah, we want to join, but because they're so they're built differently, you know, and the females are able to think further down the road and plan it out better, and they're able to handle it better, and that's why there are only female Zhat Vash. Because if you're a male, you touch it, you get so fucking angry and freaked out, your head blows up, right?
Yeah.
That would make sense, but there's no reason why.
Yeah.
Females are good at keeping secrets. Unless they drink Romulan ale, and then they spill the secrets. Anyways.
Do you remember those characters who were the first, who were the first 1/3 of the show? And then we dumped all of the characters we knew from the first third of the show and introduced a whole new group of characters. Do you remember that?
$1,000, right? Bet right now.
Okay.
At the very end in the giant battle, they show up.
Oh yeah, they're
in a little Romulan ship. We're here to help.
Yeah. They're going to be piloting 2 fighter craft. We're here too now.
The past is written, but the future is left for us to write. And we have powerful tools, Rios. Openness, optimism, and the spirit of curiosity. All they have is secrecy and fear. And fear is the great destroyer, Rios. Not
Picard had his little speech, which was Picard-ish. And he said, it was basically the moral quandary of the show, which is not established whatsoever, is synth life versus being pragmatic and protective of... See, the thing is, the hero of the show to me is Commodore O. Because... boy, oh boy, is she right.
It took her all of 5 minutes to hack my ship, Picard. And now, maybe there's a whole planet of them. Rafi said the Romulans called her the Destroyer. What if they're right?
Let's kill all the synths, because, goddammit, look what happens, right?
Mike, you're giving in to fear.
Oh, yes, okay. It seems very reasonable.
I'm gonna differ with you there,
But see, my point is, we have not established that synths, other than Data, who is a complete anomaly and is dead, are some kind of magical thing worth saving. They look like bald blue man groups who shoot you with the motherfucking laser. They look scary.
We should kill things we're afraid of. That is not a message that should ever be on Star Trek, Mike. Take off that badge right now.
Beam me up. My point is, Rich, I agree with you.
Yeah.
But my point is they have not established that synths, other than Soji and Daj, which by all accounts and, looking at her, and she's a normal girl, and she had a boyfriend, and she was going to school, and she seemed like she was living a normal life, right? Probably a nice person, I don't know. Other than that, the only other synths we see are the zombies that are like, yes, I have no feelings. Remember they're making fun of it? They're like, what's bad and sticky, motherfucker? And he's like, something kind of lubricant, some lubricant that we use in greasing the machines. No, this fucking food we're eating, you stupid motherfucker. And he's like, ha, 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 robot. That's the synths. And they say, hello, plastic people.
Good morning, plastic people.
Good morning, Mr. Pincus.
The guy says, hello, plastic people. They're mocking them, and they walk around and they are presenting them as machines that are soulless, but yet the goal of the show is to be compassionate and save them.
The ban itself was a betrayal. Oh, the Zhat Vash, they set the trap. But we could merely have sidestepped it. Instead, we gave way to fear.
Shields down in all.
Stand down!
Security grid failure.
I'm with Commander O. Wipe them all out so that a monstrous alien race doesn't come and unleash hell on the galaxy. I'm fine with that. Get holograms to work on starships. The aliens don't seem concerned with holograms.
There's going to be a whole planet of Dajas, and they're all going to have individuality and personalities. Mike. They're all going to be identical, and it's going to be very confusing. And they're all going to be flying in fighter ships at the end of the show.
Stop taking my vision of what the show should be and bringing it back down to reality. That's what you're doing, and it's very harmful. I'm trying to make sense of this. My brain is trying to work it out.
Once the fight is going bad for the Federation fleet in the skies, all of the androids of the planet are like, it's time for us to join the battle, and they're all going to jump. There are a whole bunch of fighter ships just going to launch out of that planet.
Wrong. A giant ship. The planet is going to open up, and a giant ship will come out, and this cargo bay door will open, and hundreds of thousands of Sojis and Ajas will fly out into space without spacesuits on and land on Romulan ships and start ripping the metal off the ships.
Oh, but then the Romulans are going to use their disruptor wave, and that will destroy the android's ability to coordinate. So then Picard's going to have to jump into the cockpit and pilot the giant android robots assembled as a giant robot himself, so he can punch them.
No, but seriously though, that scene that we see 7 of 9 stand in the Queen room and things go into her spine.
Yeah.
$100. That happens to Picard.
Yeah. Yeah.
7 of 9 gets killed or horribly injured, is unable to control the Borg cube, and needs Picard to do it.
Oh yeah. That's how you have an 80-year-old man have an action scene.
Yeah. Become
in
Locutus.
your action show.
You must embrace Locutus. I don't know if I could do it. You can do it, Jean.
You have to save Soji. Do it for Data.
His eyes are going to go black. This is Locutus. He'll order the Borgs from all over the galaxy to appear via...
It's going to be so badass. Locutus is going to come back. It's so badass.
No, Rich.
What?
They've established that there is a Borg transwarp conduit that leads right to the planet.
Yeah.
They had Borg transwarp conduits in Star Trek Voyager, and Soji knows about it somehow, and she's gonna, then Picard is gonna have to become Locutus to call all the Borgs back to stop this threat.
Are the Borgs the ancient race that wipe out the android creating races?
That's so terrible it could be true. I don't think so, because the Borgs aren't big and scary enough. Here's the end battle, right?
Oh no, those are just the normal cubes we saw. They're just the scout cubes.
These are the ancient
There's
ones.
going to be the giant cube that shows up at the end, Mike. Those are the true ancient Borgs that show up. The smaller cubes, they just monitor the progress of civilizations to find out if they're creating androids yet. And when they do, they send out the signal, and then the giant Borg cube shows up with all the lasers.
Well, so Borgs find synths a threat.
Yes.
Because they're more advanced than a cybernetic life form. Cybernetics, they have to rely on their...
If you're a race, let's take the Borgs out of it for a second. You're a race and you want to protect other races from androids. You're not going to build robots to protect people from robots. You're going to make Borg because they're technically not androids. They're cyborgs. They're still people. So the Borgs were created to destroy any kind of life that makes robots.
Remember when the show was a touching story about Picard?
That was never going to happen, and you know it.
Okay, so final battle.
Yeah.
We've already established thousands of Romulan warbirds are heading to the planet where Soji is, right?
Yeah.
The admiral, who called Picard a fuckface, said, I'm sending a fleet.
I'm sending a squadron to rendezvous with you at DS-12. Now stay put until they get there.
So we're going to have Romulan ships all over the place. Who cares why? Even though it's a secret Zhat Vash mission, thousands of Romulan ships. The Romulan Empire knows about it. And they're all willing to just fight in this battle without any foreknowledge of it, any consequence, any political consequence, any reason why. They're just there to shoot lasers, right?
Yeah.
They don't even question it. They don't even know what's going on, all these thousands of ships, or why they're fighting in a battle. They're just there because Zhat Vash. So we have 10,000 Romulan ships. We have 5,000 Federation starships that show up because Admiral Fuckface said, I'll help you, Picard. Fine, whatever.
Shut the fuck up.
Then we have Picard and Rios in their ship. Then we have 7 of 9 flying the new Borg cube, and potentially she will call, or Locutus will call, maybe 1,000 or 10,000 Borg cubes through the Borg transwarp network to show up. And we just want to get to that big 2-part final episode of battle, right?
That's all that matters. Alex Kurtzman has a history of ripping off video games. They're going to go full Mass Effect 3 at the ending.
What happens at the end of Mass Effect 3?
Picard is going to join himself with the Borg to take over the Borg to stop them from murdering everybody. And then he'll become the ancient overlord as the Borg master over all of life. People hate Mass Effect 3.
Okay, well, maybe they won't do that exactly.
I don't think they'll do that.
The ultimate arc, though, of this series would be stop. You. Everybody stop fighting. We have to choose.
That'd be a very Picard way of doing it, to stop violence.
It's been set up because, he was like, we have to, Commander O, he's like, she chose the way of fear and, hatred and whatever. We have to choose the way of understanding and tolerance, right, and peace. That's it. It's don't be afraid of the synths. We have to love them.
That's all they have to do.
That's the arc.
Do you honestly believe that's what Alex Kurtzman is going to do?
I think Picard will become the cutest and will take 100,000 Borg cubes to blow up the Ancient Ones so they don't come back ever again.
Okay.
Instead of like the Ancient Ones and the Romulans and the newly discovered Bruce Maddox all sitting down at a big conference table and talking it out and going, look, don't be so scared of synths, Ancient Ones.
We have nothing in common at all. We haven't agreed to anything.
You're wrong, Chogan. We've agreed to have some brandy together.
Let me tell you about a man I used to.
Let me tell you about a man I used to.
He gave his life doing what he thought was right.
Synths aren't also bad, Ancient Ones. Perhaps you're right, Picard. We will check on you again in the next 100,000 of your years. Till then...
Maybe the Qs are the destroyers.
But why would Qs fear android life so much?
The Qs were created to protect life from androids, Mike.
Created by who?
Oh, who cares? They were created by ancient or ancient ones. Yeah, the test for humanity that Q's been doing, that he's been judging humanity, hasn't been to find out whether or not humanity has evolved into something kinder and gentler. He's been judging to find out if humanity is going to start building androids.
So who's fighting who in a giant battle?
It's going to be very confusing. We're not going to know.
Is it going to be worse than the Discovery Season 2 ending?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Picard, tubes shoot into his spine. His eyes turn black. He becomes the cutest.
How much credit will you give them if Picard does sit everybody down at a table?
Oh, God. All the credit in the world. If the Ancient Ones are like a guy in a black cloak who looks like Skeletor, and they poise this giant battle of like all these Borg cubes and all these Romulan ships, and then they all just sit down. Picard beams in, and he sits at the head of the table like the mediator.
Yeah, yeah.
Why do you not like androids? They are evil. They represent the death of the universe.
If this ended with him giving a Picard speech to Skeletor,
yes,
it would be amazing.
Yeah. And there's like a smoke machine, you know, when the Ancient Ones arrive. It's like that character. What's that? The guy from the Ferengi episode.
Oh yeah, the ancient head guy. Yeah.
Who just shows up? Him and like he has two guys behind him that are also big robes on. Their ship is just like this big like giant thing that's the size of a sun. It's like big, and it has the power to like just blow planets up left and right. And their plan was just to appear in our galaxy and just wipe everything out.
They're energy creatures, Mike. Their starships are suns.
Okay. And they take on the form of Skeletor. And are, you know, just for our human eyes,
interact.
Your eyes can't handle what they really look like. They're so powerful and so ancient, but they look like a guy in a bad Skeletor makeup. Look at Frank Langella back, and he's Skeletor, and he sits down, and they kind of explain why they don't like androids, but their argument's not too good. And then
Pursuant to paragraph 1290, I hereby formally request third-party arbitration of our dispute.
You have the right.
Furthermore, pursuant to subsection D3, I name the Grisellas to arbitrate.
And then the Ancient Ones leave, and then the production assistant hits the smoke machine button, and it fills up the room. And then they back out slowly. It looks like an episode of TNG. And there's no battle.
Okay.
That would be pretty great.
I did not come this far to be cheated. I want it all now.
Very well. You will get what you deserve.
But what was the one with the weapon where they hold that little device?
That was the one where Picard was on the little mercenary ship, and was she a Vulcan posing as a Romulan, but she was really a rogue Vulcan looking for the ancient Vulcan weapon that would only kill you if you were angry or mean.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
And the way to defeat the weapon was to not be mad.
To clear your head of angry thoughts.
Yeah.
And then the wave would pass through you harmlessly.
Empty your minds of violent thoughts.
Before it would kill you. Such a weapon. Vulcans would be immune to it, though.
That's why, I think that was the implication. That's partly why Vulcans embraced logic.
Yeah.
Because they were developing hate weaponry.
What if this ended like that episode? such a climax, huh?
You were right, Talera. The resonator cannot be stopped by phasers and shields.
So amazing.
But it can be defeated by peace.
It's got to end with 8,000. No, 8,000 is too few. Like 80,000 fighter ships.
800.
And like 3 or 4 different factions, and then the Borg cubes come in.
Yeah, it's gonna get wild. It's gonna get wild. And those are our last 2 episodes.
Yeah.
And then I blow my brains out with a phaser.
I'm gonna go get that coronavirus.
Please, my friend. Choose to live.
Are you authorized to leave this set?
No.
We're not done.
Bye.
I'll see you for Star Trek Discovery Season 3.
No!
And the season.
We're not doing that, are we?
And the season finale of Star Trek Picard.
We're
They're not on mic.
I am not doing Discovery Season 3. I refuse. Good sir.
Get back here. Get back.